Alrighty, mic check, mic check. It looks like we are going good. Let me turn this down for y'all. And we're gonna get ourselves started. Let me just unmute myself from the Discord. Alright, I'm back, y'all. For those who can hear me, I hope you can hear me.
Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Hi, Mark.
Alrighty, y'all.
Hello.
Oh, let's turn Angie up.
Am I a little too quiet?
I had you turned down a little bit for whatever reason. Oh, no, never mind. My base
Okay.
value is 70. Never mind.
Okay.
Okay. So, this is our first Symphony of the Nerds podcast. Where we're literally going to just sit here and talk about nerd stuff for like an hour and a half every Sunday. If everyone would like to introduce themselves, that would be fantastic.
Well, my name is Sam. I am also known as Angie, aka Way Too Late TV. I do Way Too Late TV over at twitch.tv/WayTooLateTV, and I typically am up way too damn late. And I am also a mod here at Prestine's channel. And yeah, I am a kind of variety streamer, and I am probably the oldest of the three of us by far. And I've been around quite a long time, and I know my gaming stuff just by sheer value of having been around when it happened.
I can vouch for that for sure. And what about you, Soul?
My name's Soul. Everybody who doesn't know me, you all know me now. I'm just a Final Fantasy nerd that likes to play D&D. Nice.
So, we didn't really... I forgot to talk to the guys about it, but didn't really structure about who would start off when. So what I'm going to do here is, since we're all big old nerds and I haven't been able to roll my dice in a very long time, I'm gonna pull up a d6 and I need everyone to pick two numbers.
I'll go with 4 and 6.
4 or 6.
I was gonna be that guy and go 1 and 6. I'll go 1 and 2.
1 and 2. Okay, so 4 and 6 and 1 and 2. 3. So I guess I go first.
Yes, you do.
All right. So for you guys know me, I'm a variety streamer. I play a lot of FPS, like a lot. It's been kind of my focus lately. And that's kind of where I kind of wanted to start off. But first off, I would like to thank my two co-hosts here for helping me out here. Sam over here has been teaching me a bunch of cool stuff about computers, and Soul is just the best moral support you can get around here. So no, for sure, you are the best moral support we can get. And to start off, I'm going to start off with the topic of misconceptions about battle royales and first-person shooters. Now, battle royales are not my favorite, but I've played a lot of them. I was there on the Spellbreak release, Hyperscape beta, Apex Legends. I played Fortnite. I've played H1Z1, I think is the name of the one. I didn't like it a whole lot. And then PUBG, which is... I played Fortnite, but I hated it, so my opinion here is probably moot. It's not a bad game, but one of the biggest misconceptions I have noticed about Battle Royale specifically is the fact that people really shit on them, like a lot of like Final Fantasy fan or RPG fans in general. Like there seems to be this divide between RPG and FPS players, and FPSs are popular. They're far, or at least seemingly more popular than RPGs. It's not the case. It's just Epic Games and EA and Respawn, Call of Duty, they know how to market. They really know how to just dominate the market for advertising. I was watching I kind of sit in these conversations and I've noticed a lot of people shit. And I mean, that's the best way to put it. They just go, no, they're trash. They're popular, but they're trash. I hear that a lot. And what bothers me about that is in my opinion, gamers should all just relate. We should all just relate with one another and just kind of have a good time with it. And we want to just say, oh, that's not my style of game, so it's bad. There's all these other issues. Like, yeah, EA and especially Activision are really bad about putting anti-cheats in their games. And that causes a big problem. I heard somewhere, I think it was I think it was Brother Enoch I heard was talking about it, that like apparently according to Toofy, like 50% of all Apex Preds are cheaters. They're hackers. I can believe that. I really can believe that about half of them are up there like that, because Toofy, who's been this hot topic on TikTok a lot lately, has been just basically making people play the way he wants. Now, if I ever run into Toofy, I'm gonna, like, if I ever get to Pred and I run into Toofy, yeah, I'm gonna play by his rules, but that ruins the gaming experience. And me and Sam have had a lot of conversation about that, about just, you really shouldn't just like don't ruin another person's gaming experience. That's not cool.
Yeah,
fam.
absolutely.
And from what I've seen, it's people think that that's everywhere in FPS, and that's not the case. Realistically, yeah, you'll see some in lower elos, but realistically, no. Especially if they're skill-based matchmaking, because they're so damn good because of their hacks. They're doing so well because of their hacks that they're going to be in higher elos. So when I was getting into it with someone else online, they were like, well, I run into hackers all the time. And the dude was talking about he's playing in bronze and silver regularly. And I'm like, no, the fuck you're not. You're not. You're not running into them, because they're all going to be playing in plat and higher. Gold, maybe. Maybe if they like to turn their cheats off every once in a while. But you're just not going to run into them. And trust me when I said that, when I got into plat, I played a couple plat games last night. Yeah, no, it's a whole other ballpark. They don't miss shots. Nobody in plat misses their shots. And
I can
that's
imagine,
a problem.
yeah.
And like, so that's where it's like, figuring out if it's sus or not is not my expertise. I don't know how to figure out if someone's cheating, but it's not fun, let me tell you. Especially when you're like, man, I didn't even get a chance to pull my gun out and I just got beamed in the next year. Which me and Soul experienced that earlier this week. We just had matches where we were not allowed to get off a drop. And
like 100%.
Yeah. It was
Apex. That's BRs in general for you, though.
Yeah.
That's any game that is easy to access, has a very large player base all at one time.
And like, we run into that quite often, and it's a shame, really, because we don't, like, in the FPS community, we do have our degrees of toxicity. Every game that's competitive does. But when I go and I try to sit in on these conversations, because I play Hollow Knight, I played Final Fantasy VII, I played The Witcher, I play RPGs. Like, RPGs was my thing for about 4 years. I stopped playing FPS for about 4 years, except for Apex, because Apex is god tier. my totally unbiased opinion there. But like, when I try to go and sit down and, excited to hear it, and then someone goes, well, they suck. And when I ask why they suck, they try to say, well, because of cheaters and all that stuff. Let me tell you something. You ever heard of mods? Like, if you run through a game and you want to, like, someone says that cheaters ruin a gaming experience in a competitive scene, and it does. But like 80% of people who play FPS are casual. That's maybe not 80%, but I would probably say a solid 60% just play it for fun. They don't care about rank, they don't care about all that. They just want to go and pub stomp, which is no problem with that. Like, the issue isn't about someone's skill level, but like, someone saying, someone literally said, if you can't play the base game at its core, it's not good. But then I know people who go in.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. If
If
you can't plug in the game and not play it, if I go to the store and I get a $60 game, okay, it is fundamentally busted. It is a shit game.
But then there's people in the same breath will go in and talk about how their favorite mods are this because it makes the game so much better or so much easier.
That's fine, but like I agree with I wholeheartedly agree with the sentiment of if if a game is garbage, it's garbage, and you need to look at it as that,
Yeah,
and then you can build off of it with mods. Like that's fine.
which
I
I
don't see mods as cheating in a non-competitive scene, though.
but I what I'm saying is like you are modifying a game to better your experience. How is that any different than cheating? Because I know a lot of people who cannot play FPS and they only do it. They only play with cheats on. I'm not. I'm.
How
I'm
is
not.
okay? Wait. So
Well,
you're asking how like a graphical mod is the same as cheating?
no. I'm saying something like the gun mod in Hollow Knight, which I know people have only played Hollow Knight with the gun mod. They've never played it vanilla. Now, play the game however, like play a single player game however you want. But my issue is the fact that these are the same people that will shit on FPS and battle royales because it's just not their style of game.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's a single player experience versus a multiplayer experience, and you're going against other people in a competitive environment. You can't mod that without impacting other people's experience. You know.
Yeah, but that's to me it doesn't feel any different. That's to me it doesn't feel any different. I've never the only game I've played mods with is like Minecraft, and that's because I like texture packs. I like things looking
Right.
pretty.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's what I'm getting at is like look at Skyrim, the unofficial Skyrim patch or the unofficial Fallout patch
oh
that like it's
yeah,
got like 60 that like that's not cheating.
no, it's
Now
not.
if you were to do that to like Apex to where like let's say for some reason Apex didn't have like HD texture packs or something,
Yeah,
I'm of the opinion that if you mod your game in a competitive setting and it does anything except mess with your specific game, you are cheating.
yeah, which I'm not necessarily comparing mods to cheating. I'm saying I'm arguing on the side of modifying a game experience to make it enjoyable for you specifically, like you as an individ like the individual. So
Mhm.
that's what all I'm trying to get at is like just because cheaters exist in a competitive game, which they always have, like besides like what is it N64? The second that online games became a thing with like the Xbox and the PlayStation 2, the Xbox, yeah, no, the original Xbox was online. Man, I remember that. I was a kid. Like I was like maybe this tall, maybe when I first played like on an Xbox. I played on the N64 for years, but it's the issue is like it feels exclusive sometimes. Like you get if I want to go and I want to have a discussion with a group of Final Fantasy players that I don't know, I don't know them personally. It's just someone said, hey, if you like Final Fantasy, come check them in. I've noticed in a lot of those groups they don't like FPS, and when they don't like FPS, it feels like it feels very exclusive. I've just noticed this divide between the two, like RPG, RPGs, JRPGs, and FPS and battle royales, which battle royales are one of the it's just the biggest genre right now. From what I think, from what I've seen,
Yeah,
like player count
it's the most
wise,
explosive. Yes,
it's
it's the most.
it's Fortnite. Epic Games did a great job with Fortnite. I don't like the game, but it's not a bad game. Like they did a great job marketing it and they made it very accessible to everyone. It is marketed towards minors, kids, like people are like 8 and older, but I mean, and you get people like Ninja who found it extremely accessible,
Yeah.
which personal opinions aside, great job. Like I really do commend Epic Games for that. They did a fantastic job making it accessible.
Now, I do kind of want to go back a little bit to the whole modding something to suit your needs thing, because you've been saying the word accessible a lot, and I am a disabled gamer, as you know, and you kind of gotta when you are a disabled gamer, you kind of have to work with what the developers give you, and then try and make things more accessible with mods. If you like have a hard time with like certain things like aim or whatnot in FPS games that are single player, um, like because I have fibromyalgia and arthritis in my hands, and it makes it extremely difficult for me to like do longer sessions of like aiming and whatnot. So I am grateful for the tools that the auto aim type stuff that Apex has put in. But for like
Yeah.
older stuff, like I mean, I cut my teeth on Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, the original Doom. Like my BBS that I ran out of my frickin' bedroom back when I was a kid in high school got the original Doom exe file for the shareware version, and we were hot shit back then, man. We got all the downloaders on my BBS. Yeah, anyway, um, so there was no such thing as aim assist back then. So it was a lot harder to get stuff working, and so there are a lot of tools and everything that are out there today for just first person shooters, like say Fallout 4 or games like that, that
That's
you're gonna have like first person shooters like Borderlands 3. I play a lot of Borderlands 3, and there are some certain things for that you can use to there are accessibility options built in that make it a lot easier for people like me to use, and I'm extremely thankful for that. And I don't think it's cheating. I don't think it's modding it, making it I don't think it's the same as using like aim trainers like some of the pros in Apex might.
like Kovacs and Aim Labs and whatnot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. See, I never like, and like now I like actually like realize it came out of my mouth. It's not a good comparison. In reality, it's not, because there is that difference, because I haven't played a normal first person shooter besides Borderlands 3 or 2 in a while. Cyberpunk, I consider that less of an FPS and more of an RPG. So, and there's
Right.
more than, yeah. So it's like it falls under the same premise because you can have melee builds and whatnot. But in reality, yeah, that was a poor like comparison. Um, and FPS, yeah, it's come a long way. It's honestly, from what I've seen, Doom specifically, just it did something to the gaming community where like, this is awesome. I feel like you're no longer playing the hero, you are the hero. Like, you are the good guy coming in to save the day.
Yeah.
Um,
When you first load up that BFG 9000,
oh
man,
yeah.
you fire that thing off, you got that feeling like, oh, this is something special.
And Doom 2016 recaptured that perfectly. They really did. I've been considering getting Doom Eternal because the new DLC just came out, and it just looks. The game itself is not necessarily my personal favorite art style, because I like the gritty. Like,
Right.
I played one of the first FPSs I ever played was Duke Nukem 3D. So now,
I love Duke Nukem 3D.
Now, very dated. If you are sensitive to a lot of different subjects, don't play Duke Nukem 3D. Just don't. It's offensive.
It was horrible. Yeah, it was offensive and horrible and everything like that.
It's bad. And then Duke Nukem Forever kind of just shit the bucket. It was
Did
bad.
that ever come out?
It did. I played it like 4 times. I hated every playthrough.
I can imagine. Yeah.
But no, like, the fact that FPS has become accessible, though, because there are people who could never play it back then, when those games came out, because just having that little controller on the N64 and just the one button right here, and then you'd have to like play with like this. Like, you had 2 hand configurations for what game we're playing. 3 technically, if you want to get into like a perfect
Claw
dark
mode.
Yep.
Oh God,
Perfect Dark. Yeah, if you really wanted to, like, you couldn't play those, especially if you had anything like arthritis, fibro.
Yep.
You know what? The
Yeah.
thing that affects your nerves, it hurts, it sucks.
Fibro. Just call it fibro. That's what I do.
Okay. Because I can't. I get tongue tied so easily. I think
it's
I
fine.
need to take like speech therapy or something. Jokes aside, no, I mean not jokes. I mean I'm kind of serious about that. I've been getting tongue tied a lot lately. But the level of accessibility that's come out of FPS over the past 10 years specifically has been quite amazing. My cousin, he made controllers for one-handed people so they could play games
cool.
like Apex and stuff. He helped crowdfund that, and he honestly is like, that was like the best $1,000 he's ever spent. Like, because it's a big thing. People now have one-handed controllers. Now they can play Fortnite and Apex and PUBG, you know, Call of Duty again, which, you know, there's
the Xbox adaptive controller, which is it's an entire getup of all these adaptive controller type items that you can plug into any gaming machine, or it works on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, PC, I think even Switch. I'm not sure, but it's the amount of setup that you can use that for. Just it comes with like big buttons, switches, knobs, any setup you can think of, and it's really neat.
And from what I've heard, it also like has like different textured buttons for people who are like neurodivergent and have sensory issues too. So
yes,
to me that's amazing. Like I personally don't like Microsoft as a company. I think that they as a company have a lot of lazy business practices, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they have done things, even if it's for money, that have helped others. Like, people need to remember that. Like, just because a corporation is sleazy doesn't mean they haven't done good things, and vice versa.
Right. And damn, I was just going to say something, but I completely just lost my train of thought. But I remembered. They actually have an award at the Video Game Awards now for best accessibility options in a game, and that started with the last award show last year in 2020, and it's going to be a permanent fixture. So, The Last of Us Part 2 won last year for their accessibility options, and it's a permanent fixture. So keep an eye out for more accessibility innovation winning that award in the years to come.
Honestly, and that makes me happy to hear, because I have a lot of friends who they have such a hard time playing a whole slew of games. They're just like, it hurts. Like, it hurts my eyes. It hurts my brain. It messes with me, which here's another misconception of apparently is that FPS communities are unwelcoming. There's some truth in that statement. But there's some truth to that statement. I mean, there was like yesterday on Friday before the tournament, some dude was like, me and my partner, my duo partner, we went and pushed an enemy team. Our teammate was nowhere to be found, and he starts around his mouth. He's like, "You guys are a bunch of bitches. You guys are too scared to push a fight." And I'm just like, bro, we pushed it. Where the fuck were you? You know, and you get a lot of that. Mm-hmm. You get a lot of that toxicity. But here's my favorite part about it: you can mute them. You could just shut them up. That's the other thing. There's a lot of misconceptions. People see the toxicity in clips in popular media, and it's like, if you played the game, you would know for a fact you don't have to hear them. Me personally, most of the time, I keep my team muted. I don't want to hear what they have to say, because half the time they're trash. And I don't want to hear them going, because they're having a bad day, come and attack me, because I bite back. And I'm mean. Like, I'm really mean. I'll sit there and I'll tear someone a new one. Anyone that sat in my stream when someone was wanting to talk shit knows. I don't fucking care. After a certain point, if you come after me, I'll go for your feelings, and I'll make you not want to come back, because I don't want you here. If you're not about like hanging out, chilling, having a good time, you're gone.
I'm your mod. I know this.
I don't like if you were gonna try to ruin someone else's fun. I don't care. I don't care if you're gonna want to be around. Um, and that's the other, and that's another big thing that people see is that I touched on this with Soul. So if you're a high ranked player and you go, you used to be so like predators, all that. We used to run into them in public lobbies before skill based matchmaking, and people used to just jump on the predator. Like a whole lobby would just drop on the one predator in the lobby and punch him to death. That's why they have Smurfs, is because that's just not a fun experience. That ruins it. And as much as me and Soul have slight disagreements on it, it is something that we see, and the fact that people like post stuff like that, it makes them feel like, oh, okay, so if I'm going to put this time and effort in, I can only play competitive, because if I go into a public lobby, I'm going to ruin my fun, and that's a problem. I think it's a problem with how people view games. People have a problem with how they view first person shooters, and it's not for everyone. I don't recommend FPS to people, honestly. I recommend Metroidvanias because they're an amazing genre, and especially if you're new to gaming, if you are coming in to playing video games, play Symphony of the Night, play Castlevania Symphony of the Night, play it. It's the best Castlevania out there, and it sets the bar. Secondly,
Name the podcast after it.
it sets the bar for video games, in my opinion. The soundtrack is amazing. I think it was Bloody Tears is like one of the songs, and it's my favorite.
I think so, yeah.
Rich Eddie B made a cover of it, a metal cover of it, and it's just, dude, it's sick. I love it. And ultimately, it is just a great standard. Hollow Knight is probably my biggest recommendation for any Metroidvania ever, because it does what a Metroidvania is supposed to do perfectly. It's a story-driven game, but it doesn't tell you the story outright. It's told through little snippets that you can just walk, or these little stones you can walk up in. But honestly, I think this is a great point to move on to next subject, which we're gonna roll. Who had 4? Was that you, Angie?
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna move over to Sam, aka Way Too Late TV, aka Angie to Friendos. And what is the topic you will be discussing today?
I'm actually going to be talking about MMORPGs. Now, MMORPGs, massively multiplayer online role-playing games. So you may know them by their most famous entry, which is World of Warcraft. They are the games that have a whole bunch of people online at the same time in across like maybe like 50, 60 servers. And they're just, online games that have living worlds. And the thing is, they started out as multi-user dungeons, or MUDs, on BBSs. Now, when I said I used to run a BBS back out of my bedroom when I was a teenager in high school, a BBS is basically a message board that had like text games and whatnot, files you can download, message boards that you would dial into with your modem, and it was a precursor to the internet back before the internet was the internet. It also makes me extremely old, and I'll thank you not to hold that against me. Anyway, back in 1996, Meridian 59 was the first graphical MMPRPG. That was what they called it back when they were having like the HD DVD versus Blu-ray naming war. They called it the massively multiplayer role-playing game, and they were against Richard Garriott, who was the creator of Ultima Online, which came out a year later, who came up with MMORPG. Anyway, Meridian 59 was the first graphical MMP RPG. It had a $10.95 monthly sub, which made it the first sub-based MMO or MMP. um, it closed in 2000. It was run by 3DO, which, if you're an old fart like me, you remember the 3DO system, which was like a console system like the Atari Jaguar or Sega Dreamcast. Only it was like the Neo Geo in the fact that it existed but didn't exist very long. Um, anyway, it closed in 2000 and 3DO went under, but it was revived in 2004 by Near Death Studios, which was started by two former Meridian 59 devs and then closed again in 2010. And here's the coolest part: the source code of Meridian 59 was released into the public, and there are a whole bunch of free to play, just private servers all over the world right now. So you can literally play the first MMORPG or MMPRPG um, if you want right now for free. Just find a Meridian 59 server, download the client, and go play it. And you can play a piece of history for free.
So
So, go ahead. Yeah.
so real quick, turns out my cousin had played Dragon's Den.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just got and said he goes I miss Dragon's Den, which is, I'm surprised there, but not at the same time because he's an old man at heart.
Dragon's Den, I think, was a mud, if I'm remembering correctly. Either a mud or a BBS. It's been a long damn time, man.
Wow.
But yeah, BBS's dotted the landscape back then. Mine was the biggest in the area code I grew up in, and muds were like games that you played on BBS's with like the people from the area code that would call in and like play.
Yeah.
For lack of better term, I guess. But anyway, fast forward to November 2004, World of Warcraft is released. Comes out November 2004, so it's about 17 years old this year.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
17 years old. Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it's just about like 16 and a half years old.
16 and a half years old.
Wow.
I'm bad at math, but yeah, somewhere around there. My personal favorite MMO, City of Heroes, actually beat it to the punch. It came out in April of 2004, but that got shut down in 2012 by the evil NCSoft. But somehow the source code of that got released somehow, and there are private servers up all over the world right now, so you can actually play City of Heroes for free on a private server that is not legal right now.
Nope. Sadly. Honestly,
So
that's bothering me.
I highly recommend you not try it, but if you do, have fun. But yeah, World of Warcraft, over 12 million players worldwide at its peak in 2010, each paying a $15 a month monthly fee. It's got currently over 8 expansions released. It has a classic server cluster as well, included in the subscription cost currently, which is the base game as it was at launch. Speaking of launch, it did not go smoothly.
Oh.
Server issues plagued the initial game launch. Some players couldn't even get onto their characters for weeks. Literal weeks.
It's insane.
Blizzard did not anticipate the demand for the game, but it's obviously based on the real-time strategy games, Warcraft 1, 2, and 3.
I played Warcraft 3 actually. Is the first. Oh no, I played
Yeah,
StarCraft first, but
StarCraft, yeah.
I played StarCraft first. And I think RTS is really, I think, paved the way for MMORPGs. Realistically, those old school
Yeah.
RTS really did.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right on that. There were always these rumblings that there was going to be a World of StarCraft MMO, but
Oh, I'd be playing that. I would play that.
oh yeah, Blizzard never got around to it, but there was word of like a game called Titan that was supposedly going to be maybe possibly a StarCraft type game in that vein. But what they took from Titan, when they canceled it, turned into Overwatch.
Mm.
So that was World of Warcraft, and then flash forward to 2010, Final Fantasy 14 1.0 is released. Huge flop. Incredibly mismanaged, ridiculous penalizing features that disincentivized playing long sessions. Like you would get XP penalties for playing longer hours. You would get XP that would fall off as you logged out.
Jeez.
The polygon budget was spent very weirdly. A single flower pot would have 10,000 polygons, causing massive graphical lag for no gain. Square Enix was ready to pull the plug and call it a failure. And this one guy called Naoki Yoshida says, I can save it.
Oh.
So, the beginning of the Meteor storyline started in the patch 1.3. All right. So, the evil Garlean Empire has these mages that start summoning the moon called Dalamud to crash into the planet. Right? So, each update, each patch, the moon starts getting bigger and more ominous and closer in the sky. And you see like this tether of magic pulling it toward the sky. The music starts fading out to an eerie quietness with every patch.
Oh.
The final moments of the 1.x Final Fantasy 1.x, before the game was taken down to be reworked into Final Fantasy 14 2.0 A Realm Reborn, a full motion video movie plays. Dalamud was brought down upon the battlefield of Cartno, where the Empire of Garlemald and the Eorzean Alliance were fighting. Dalamud was not a moon, but a prison for the Elder Primal Bahamut. Bahamut was released and rained destruction upon the entire battlefield. In a moment of self-sacrifice, Archmage Louis Sois sends the Warrior of Light, the player, 5 years into the future to be continued in A Realm Reborn. Flash forward to 2013, Final Fantasy XIV 2.0 A Realm Reborn is released. Huge critical success. In the 8 years since that's been released, Final Fantasy XIV has reached more than 20 million players. Naoki Yoshida, who goes by Yoshi P for Yoshi the producer, has been hailed as a miracle worker. They are working on their 4th expansion pack, Endwalker, which is going to be releasing in the fall of this year. And the 8-year A Realm Reborn storyline finally ends in Endwalker's initial storyline. So this story has been 8 years in the making, and they're finally ending it at the end of 6.0. So that is basically a short, very long history of MMOs. There's three types of MMOs. Cost structure wise, there's the subscription model. Final Fantasy 14 is one of
Yeah.
these. It's the oldest type. Flat monthly rate, usually about $15 or less. Can sometimes have an optional cash shop for cosmetics. There's the free to play model, which is modern day Star Wars: The Old Republic. It originally started as a monthly model, but it went free to play because it was kind of failing hard.
Oh yeah, I was actually a player. I played for a little bit. The only reason I started playing was because it became free to play.
Right.
My buddy said, "Hey, it just became free to play. Try it out." And that's when I was back in high school, and I was still using my school bought laptop. They gave me a laptop for school when I was going to Catholic school, and yeah,
yeah. SWOTOR is notorious for being nagged to play.
yeah,
Pay for convenience is one thing. Nag to play is basically pay for basic functionality.
yeah.
But the cash shop will have cosmetic and non-cosmetic items and features. Non-cosmetic being inventory slots or in-game items and gear. Cosmetic being non-statted gear, dyes, non-combat pets, and mounts. The big thing for free-to-play games is loot boxes. And I'm sure we could spend hours talking about loot boxes. Is it gambling? Yes or no? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, at its basis, you pay money for a chance to get something cool. That's fucking gambling. Even
Yes,
if they're
it is.
the argument they have.
No, whoa. All right, I hate to be that guy, but that is not the definition of gambling.
Okay, you know what? Dang
It's not the definition of gambling, but loot boxes are a form of gambling.
Boxes are a form of grab bag, though.
That's true, but grab bag is technically a form of gambling when monetization gets into play.
Monetization, the only so
Take
the
risky
biggest
action
thing
in the hope of a desired
monetization.
result is one of the definitions from the Oxford Language Dictionary for gambling.
Oh, but here's the thing, though. I know the entire. Being an addict, yeah, the first thing that comes out of Soul's mouth is I'm an addict, and
No.
I have an addictive personality, which I know that gambling is part of that. Like,
Yeah.
you don't gamble,
Right.
unless it's like predictions.
Which at that point, as long as you're not, hurting yourself or putting yourself in a bad situation.
Correct, yeah. So now, if I go out and I'm going to use something that we've all played. If I go out and I buy a magic pack, am I gambling? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, right there. If I buy an Apex pack, am I gambling? Yes or no?
Yes.
No, it's the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. Exact same situation.
No, it's not. Because you can sell your magic cards.
You can sell Apex packs. You can sell your account if you really wanted to.
But you can't sell the individual items in your pack. It's the same issue that Counter-Strike came into. Do you remember what happened with Counter-Strike Global Offensive?
That's the example I'm using. The CS:GO was there were people running literal gambling sites that were labeled as gambling sites. If I buy a pack of CS:GO and I get a $10,000 skin, the only reason that it's $10,000 is because the black market has put a price on it. There are some people who go in with the intent of spending $1,000 to get a $10,000 skin. That's gambling to them. But if I go and I buy an Apex pack because I want a legendary skin, the only way to get that is to either get crafting materials or get it out of a pack. It's not gambling, it's a game of chance.
The reason why EA and Respawn get out of trouble for that, though, is because they give them away for free as well. The reason why it was such an issue with Battlefront 2 is you didn't get those packs for free. You had to buy them. So it is a form of gambling, but there are, of course, loopholes when you define them, because they have to define them in a legal standard, and they do very much so end up being gambling if you don't get any other ones for free.
I get free packs of Magic, just saying.
That's fine, but most of the time, a lot of these games have blocks, like you have to be an adult to play some of them and stuff like that. They can get away with that because at that point, that's legal gambling.
And like with some companies will set a flag at your request to turn off purchases of loot boxes if gambling addiction is a problem for you.
Yeah.
Which I do appreciate.
Yeah, and I do too. Like I do as well. But and I know why boxes are quote unquote considered gambling, because it's the instant gratification of it. It's I spent $5, I could get X, and it's kind of like a goal.
I spent
and the goal is like
$150 and got X.
But you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Like it's the exact. But like now, let's look at Magic. The reason I use Magic is because it's the exact same format. It is
trading cards.
It's the exact same format as getting the legendary skin. You look at the new set of Magic that comes out, or you look at an old set of Magic that comes out, and you're like, man, I really need this Liliana of the Veil. I can look in my Magic deck and I can tell you 5 rare cards that will break the bank. Got it in my Magic deck right now. Average player.
The other difference between, what happened with EA with Battlefront 2 and like Magic the Gathering is it's a physical commodity. You could trade individuals and you could buy individuals. You don't have to go out and get the pack. You don't have to get the booster pack.
That is true. Well, that is true, and
so that's why they aren't. That's why that won't be defined as gambling, because of the physical trade aspect as well.
And do keep in mind that you literally, it is against terms of service to sell your account in Apex and whatnot.
People still do it anyways, but there's no way they can actually prove it.
True.
Because they don't have access. They don't have legal access to get into the deep delve of your bank account. They can only accept your money, not look at where you spend it, the rest of it.
Right.
And that's... I mean, Sam, you're right. We could talk about this for a while because it is that heavy of a topic. Because there's a lot of weird definitions for what gambling could or could not be.
Right. And I mean, Soul definitely has a leg up on us here with knowledge and understanding here. And I don't want to. Oh, Canuck has a. Would you consider it like playing a slot machine? Pull the trigger to win something that has high odds and hope to get something of perceived value. Unique skin equals hitting jackpot.
Personally, on a personal matter, yes.
I would consider it as RNG. One could equate Magic to it. One could equate anything to a slot machine, though. And I'm not downing Canuck's analogy because it's a good analogy. Like anything could be equated to a slot machine.
Honestly, it's a great question.
Yeah, because like if I go out and I buy, when you go to like your hobby shop, it's like you get a cup of dice for like $10. Okay, dice is a terrible example, but we're going to use it anyway because it's an example nonetheless, and I really don't want to use Magic grab bag. Now let's say, and we're gonna put this out there because it's a thing. There is a dice in MTG. It's a spin down from like Alpha. That's like $700 just because people want it. Okay. There's a spin down dice from the Alpha set that people, and they're out. I mean, they're all the flip around. So you have the knowledge that there's a dice buried in this giant of RNGesus You have the ability to then scoop up, but you don't know where it is the exact same equivalent as putting a quarter in a slot machine and pulling that lever and waiting for a jackpot. So a lot of things can be attributed to gambling. Thing that I would, and again, argue is I hate the word argue, but it's the only word for this. That I would argue is that some people, loot boxes can be seen as gambling, and I'm not going to shit on your opinion if you look at me and go, I feel like they're gambling. More power to you. But if you're going to look me in the face and go, loot boxes are gambling because you spend $5 for a chance to win a legendary, I'm going to look at you and say, go buy a magic pack. It's the exact same.
Okay,
It is. Or a Pokemon pack, or a Yu-Gi-Oh pack. Anything that has a random chance to it can be quote unquote considered gambling, even if it doesn't have any monetary value attached to it. Door prizes are gambling if you think about it. If somebody's like, here's a free little ticket, and if you stick around, you might get your name called. That's gambling. It's a gamble.
No, that is gambling. So again, there are things that. So there's So back to your slot. So back to the slot machine question, real quick, and comparing it to RNG. Those work mechanically way different. A slot machine. So a physical. We'll take a physical slot machine. There's only so many combinations you can actually get, but that's not defined by a computer just picking one, like a computer, like what I have right here that cost me $1,500. That this right here will decide what number is pulled. There is a timer set on slot machines, and each dial runs at different speeds. So your probability changes. Probability changes versus when it comes to RNG versus a slot machine. Your point is still
using. I use the speedrunner for RNG. That's my fault.
No,
RNG,
you're good.
I use that term for like luck.
Yeah.
Luck and RNG and speedrunning are very, very like interchangeable.
They're basically the same thing.
Well, I use the phrase RNG for anything that's like not totally predictable. Like unpredictability is that of RNG. Like if I go out and I get struck by lightning, I know it's not some random number generated computer striking me with lightning. I know that. But you want to blame something, and if you're not religious like I am, you're like, well, shit, what do I blame? RNG.
The random number generator. Well,
the numbers lined up.
I wasn't saying that the argument was bad. I was just saying that's where that's to me that's personally where I see a weak point in that argument, because slot machines are gambling. RNG, that's RNG mechanics in games. That's where the issue of the conversation of is it gambling or is it not comes in. You look at Apex Legends. You buy an Apex pack, the numbers they give you, and that like you should get like 25 epics and 7 to 8 legendaries, and you will get that guaranteed, or basically guaranteed, because their random number generator works that way. How random number generator seems to really work is the computer decides when you get the good thing. That's when it's going to decide. RNG basically is moot probability. It's watered down probability, in my opinion, because it's not actually random. RNG is not random whatsoever. It's a computer picking a number.
It's seeded. Yes.
Yeah,
it's seeded. I saw by X amount of actions. I mean, if you really want to go into it, like the speedrunning topic, like there's an entire we're gonna go with everything with a game that 99.9% of people have played, Pokemon Red, or like Pokemon Red or Blue or Yellow.
One of the original in the first gen. Yeah. First gen.
Or even Gold and Silver. Gold, Silver, and Crystal go that far too. But anything past that, there is an entire step route to manipulate specific values of RNG.
Yeah.
Because it's seeded. Like, I get that. Like, I know that all RNG is technically not random because it's seeded by something. Like,
Though I just realized with my argument, Apex packs, like someone could use that argument that Apex packs are RNG and therefore not gambling. Because of basically it's the computer deciding when you get it.
it's not the computer thing though. It's so gambling. Well, you can.
Well, I'm saying
people can look
using
at
the
gambling
logic
people.
I used, you can make
Yeah.
the argument that it's not
Yeah.
gambling.
Let's
True.
let Soul get this down.
My bad.
So there are two ways that you can look at gambling, and from one way, which is the way that like you come in with a predisposition that loot boxes are gambling. And I'm not attacking anybody. That's just the disposition that there's just two sides to this coin.
Yeah.
Being that you spend $5, something rolls on a roll on a roll on a roll, and you get an item. And there's the chance, though it is small, to get a legendary item or something that's incredibly rare. Like, and people are like, well, you're gambling because you're spending money to get a chance to do this. And then there's people like me who don't see it as gambling, who see it as I have bought a small ball for $5. And I'm using $5 because that's the price of a magic pack. That's what's on my brain.
Right.
I've bought this small rubber ball. Inside of this small rubber ball, there is a Disney figurine. Okay? And 1 out of every 10 has Simba in it. And 9 out of every 10 don't. Okay? So I'm going to buy 10 of these balls. $50 down the drain. I crack every one of them and I don't get Simba. Not gambling. You've bought 10 of these little what's inside the ball, the pop things, and you didn't get Simba. Which goes on to my next point, which is a really, really fun little term called gambler's fallacy.
Yes.
And gambler's fallacy is, well, if I've got a 10% chance of getting it, 1 out of every 10 needs to get it, right?
Yup.
Oh,
Yup.
that is not how that works.
No.
And that, my friends, is where people with gambling addictions in trouble.
Yeah.
Because, see, and right there, see, I heard you both go, wait a second, as soon as I said gambler's fallacy. And now gears and heads are turning, and they're like, shit, Soul has a point. Loot boxes are not gambling, even though there's a percentage chance to get okay, Apex packs. There's what? It's like the 7% chance to get the legendary or something. It's nothing insane.
Yeah.
But we'll
like
round it up to
7.6%.
round it up to 10. So that means that every Apex pack, every 10 Apex packs, I should be getting a legendary, right?
Nope.
Gambler's fallacy, everybody.
It's not gambler's fallacy. You open up 100
Yes, it is.
Apex packs, and that's where. So no, because you are arguing with probability. You're arguing against probability here, my friend.
That's what Preston. That's what gambling. That's the entire premise of loot boxes or gambling. They're arguing probability. That's my entire point.
Well, what I'm saying, you're arguing against probability when it's guaranteed. Like I said, using the same logic that I used, it is guaranteed. Actually,
It is guaranteed. Yes.
it is guaranteed out of every 100. If you buy 10, you got 0.7% chance, 0.76% chance. It's out of 100. It's 100% chance.
Okay. Point being that loot boxes or gambling is arguing that probability is gambling, which it isn't.
Okay.
Like it's not. That's the thing. Is that people argue that probability is gambling when it's not. It's these people who have a gambling addiction, the gambler's fallacy, see that. Because everybody knows about way back when Battlefield did it, and then I think it was like one of the first Call of Duties that did the loot boxes, how they got in big trouble because people were like, Call of Duty loot boxes ruined my family. And it was like, no, no, honey, it didn't. You did because you had gambler's fallacy and decided to spend your life savings on a video.
Mm.
I hate to be that guy.
Uh, so
You know, it's gambling addictions meet instant gratification, that's what
Yeah.
gambling is.
Yeah.
So now, do I believe in some cases that do I believe that gambling addicts should not buy loot crates? 100%.
oh yeah.
I'm
Yes.
not saying
Yes.
that they should be like forced into it. I feel like if they want to not have that temptation, I wholly agree with Sam here. Make it go away.
Yes.
Make it go away.
That brings me right back to some companies will set the flag at your request to turn off purchases of loot boxes if gambling is a problem for you.
Correct.
Which is
And that's awesome.
a good thing. I think that's an amazing thing that they have done.
That's great. But if I get $5 and told to go to the blackjack table, it's gambling. If I get $5 and get told to buy a magic pack or a loot crate or an Apex pack, that is not gambling. That is me throwing away money for no reason, like a child at a claw machine. That's just what it is. I mean, the slot machine analogy is a great analogy because that can also be used for the fact that they are gambling, because it's like, well, that's the exact same thing. You're putting in a quarter, pulling an arm, and you're getting a random chance to get something.
Right.
And see the touch on what is bad about gambling in games itself, what the gambling or the loot boxes, why they could be bad, is because, hey Slammin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Slammin.
Is should these 8 to 12-year-olds playing games like Fortnite going in and spending their parents' money that is not theirs? That's why the conversation's even there in the first place. Realistically, it's because kids are not allowed to do that. Technically, if I'm not mistaken, you're not really allowed. Technically, you're not allowed to spend money until you're able to work a job at the age of 16.
Yes, you are. That's
well, that's air quotations. It gets skewed.
Oh,
It gets skewed. It's all dependent upon where you're at or who or what. You're not really allowed to. If you're not allowed to make, and it's just a concept in America. It's not really a law. It's a concept in America because we're so money driven. Of if you don't have money, you can't spend it. Because we're so money driven. Gambling is it's a broad, the definition here, play games for chance for money / bet or take risky action in the hopes of a desired result. That is so broad and that's really undefined in my opinion. We don't have
I used that earlier playing Final Fantasy X, but I'm going to take a gamble. It's such a broad term. It's just the fact of the matter is that the thing is, because and we'll go to the Fortnite argument, because the original argument from this comes from the 4 gambling addicts that freaked out because they spent $10,000 on COD.
Hold on a moment there,
because they're gambling addicts. And then they blamed Call of Duty for doing that.
Yeah.
That's where all of this originally started. And am I saying that it's the gambling addict's fault? No. Am I saying it's Call of Duty's fault? No. I'm saying it was a moment of weakness on somebody's part. It was nobody's fault.
So do you both have chat up right now?
No.
Yes. FIFA packs have been deemed gambling in the UK. Yes.
The UK is also branded channel predictions as gambling as well.
Yes.
I mean, I don't understand why FIFA packs were, because I didn't think that FIFA packs got I didn't think that you could get anything out of FIFA packs.
It is EA. EA's under a lot of fire for this stuff right now.
And I can see why, but again, it also comes down to the fact that, and the main people that are getting in trouble with this, and I say people because we're talking about the common people spending, an average of $250, and that sounds like a lot of money, because it is.
That is.
These gambling addicts, or these people who are becoming gambling addicts because of instant gratification, they open up like they open up a FIFA pack and get like an epic or something, like, dude, I gotta ride this train. And they keep riding it, they keep riding it, and they keep riding it, and the next thing you know, they're $5,000 in debt, and then they start blaming other people.
So this is why Respawn isn't getting in trouble. Slam in here is saying it's because of the random item chance. Spending money for a non-guaranteed result. That's why Apex packs aren't deemed gambling. Over there is because there's a guaranteed
Because of gambling laws.
Because of their gambling laws. Our gambling laws in America are so fucking loose.
No, they're not. Stop. No, they are not. As somebody who used to do it, no, they are not, Preston. Stop.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas. There are only 3 places in America that you can legally gamble on a large scale: Vegas, Monte Carlo, and Atlantic. And Atlanta City.
It's because
And
I think
that's
they got
the only
permission
3
to.
places. That's the only 3 places that you were legally allowed to gamble in the United States of America, without being an Indian reservation or outside of government jurisdiction.
I'm actually
America's
going to
gambling laws.
real quick, Soul.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to switch it over, and I'm going to give if Angie's all right with it, I'm going to give you the spotlight. It's your show now, buddy.
It comes down to gambling laws in the UK are stricter in some aspects than they are in America and the other way around. So like gambling UK is like, it's because of the incredible random chance. What Slammin is saying. It's because like this, there's no guaranteed you're going to get anything good out of it. Which, I mean, yeah, that's literally a slot machine.
That right there is.
You put in a quarter and nothing happens.
Right.
And even if you didn't have a guaranteed chance, I mean, saying that.
Interesting.
I'm trying to word things right. Even now, like you've got Call of Duty, because Call of Duty was like the big one, the big culprit of it.
They were,
being that like Call of Duty didn't have rarities assigned to their stuff, or if they did, you still had the ability to get like common, like 3. You spent $5 to get like 3 commons, and a chance to get a rare, and a chance to get a legendary. Like, and with every Apex pack guaranteed to give you a rare, it's like cool, but you're still that's just a loophole of getting around for like the UK. I guarantee that's what it is. Because if Respawn didn't have to go around the UK, like the UK's gambling laws, we wouldn't have the chance. It wouldn't be a guaranteed rare. It'd be like you have 3 commons because you spent $1 in an Apex pack. Have fun, child. Like, it just would be.
Yeah.
But on to gambling laws, like in the US, there were only like 3 places that you can like legally do that on a large scale that are like meant to be, like your classic Vegas games, slots, blackjack, roulettes, poker, that kind of stuff. You can play poker, and because it's a card game, it just happens to involve money. But like up here in Alaska, Brochacho, if you set up anything that isn't a friendly poker game, you're going to jail for like 10 years.
Interesting. That I didn't know.
Oh yeah. Gambling in America, the rules surrounding gambling are loose. The laws are not. That's the best way I'm going to put it. Because, like I said, you can go into Vegas, and it seems like this free-for-all where you can put money on fights, and you can put money on races, and you can do this, and you can go and play blackjack, and you can get really drunk and play roulette and then throw up on the roulette table.
Vegas, baby.
Then you go anywhere else and you don't see these things because gambling is so highly regulated, so highly watched, because it's such a profitable business. And I think that's another reason why the UK is like, hey man, like no gambling, because it's so incredibly profitable, and they don't have a system in place to make money off of it. Because guess what? The world revolves around, everybody. money. And if you don't
This-
know that, I'm sorry.
Sla-
But I'm going to drop a knowledge bomb on you, friendos.
Slammin just
if
brought up
you
a
look
very good point, by the way.
Yeah.
It being okay, so first Slammin says there are also bookie shops on every street corner. There's a gambling problem in the UK.
Okay,
Secondly,
I'll give you that, Slime. I'll give you that.
Call of Duty wasn't as bad because it doesn't give you a better chance of winning. They were just cosmetics. FIFA, for instance, better players give you an advantage. Also,
Oh, do they
furthermore,
legitimately give you things?
yes.
Oh,
Furthermore,
well then yes, that's 100%.
Call of Duty, you can only play it if you're 18 or older, technically. You're only allowed to play if you're 17 or older because it's mature rating. But that actually, no, mature rating just got switched to 18, I believe, recently. But still, I digress. Yeah.
FIFA is all ages. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rated E for everyone, I believe, or at least T for
By
teens.
that
Or
logic,
Peggy E. Yeah.
by that logic though, and this isn't me trying because it's a great point, Slam, and there's no like I wholly agree to that. It's the parents' fault, and here's why. If your child looks at you and goes, "Can I have money to buy a FIFA pack?" You say, "Sure," and they buy 20 of them, and then they keep coming to you and you keep doing it, you are the issue. It is not the gambling problem.
See, here's the thing. I partway agree with you. I partway don't. Honestly, yeah, we should honestly hold parents way more accountable for their own money, for their own children. At the same time, companies, if they want the same rights as a person, then they get to be held accountable as a person. It's a two-parted problem. If you are going to have a game that's rated E for everyone, but you also don't want to get in trouble for legal reasons for like gambling, so going on further, if you're going to rate your game at E for everyone, you can only buy direct cosmetics, no loot packs, no nothing. Going forward,
I'm gonna disagree on the grounds that if you have an E for everyone game like FIFA, and we'll use FIFA as the perfect example. Now the fact that like these packs that you're not getting on a regular basis have legitimate advantages in them that can be used for competitive play, that is a bunch of trash, fundamentally broken, and needs to stop.
Yes.
it does.
Simple as
Again, it's if you're gonna have that in there, it has to be cosmetics only. That's what they ran into with Battlefront 2. If you wanted Darth Vader, one of the best hero or villains in the game, you had to either grind for literally hours, like 200 hours, or better yet, just pay some money to get it. For a chance to get it.
Was, like
That's,
$70 and you got packs.
Yeah, that was bullshit in my opinion.
So in that example, that's in FIFA, that's terrible. But now, because it gives you like better players, and I think that's a bunch of shit. Like if you're gonna leave like good shit up to random chance, play Magic. I hate to be that guy, but go play Magic. Go fucking play Magic. Because I guarantee, I don't know how much FIFA packs are. I'm gonna pretend that they're $4 or $5 like Magic. Go play Magic. You'll get more value out of Magic in the end.
Okay,
Seriously.
but realistically though, so like the reason why I said what I said was ultimately when you have, again, I'm just saying this going forward. EA tried something out. They got their ass bit for it.
Yeah.
Big whoop. That's a multi-sided problem as well. Though personally, if I go and I pick up an E for everyone EA game, I really won't. I hate EA as a company. I won't pay for their games anymore. I don't feel the value in paying. Like, so for Battlefront 2, I wanted it. It looked good. There's no way in hell I'm going to pay $60 for a game like that anymore, especially if it's coming out of EA, because they've proven to me that they are not loyal to their fan base whatsoever. Therefore, they don't get my business in that sense. They don't get my direct money. But I will expect to see going forward, the smart business decision, in my opinion, is to not have packs in their games if it's going to be rated E for everyone. They really shouldn't, especially since that game is being obviously marketed towards children. That's why that has the E for everyone rating.
That's not why they have E for everyone rating. It's FIFA. It's a soccer game.
It's inadvertent marketing.
Inadvertent marketing
There's no
is not.
violence or
It
I
has
guess
gotten
there
them in
could be
trouble
violence
before.
in soccer.
That's
Inadvertent
true.
marketing is only inadvertent marketing is only applicable if you are doing like South Park did, and they were like, "Oh, this is a cute cartoon that everybody can watch," and then it was all part of a joke because South Park is this horrendous show. If I go and I make a game that has no
It is.
violence, it's a sports game. It doesn't say the word "damn." It doesn't warrant a teen rating because it's a not violent game. It's a soccer game, and I put packs in it. I'm gonna put packs in it. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if somebody makes a child's game and puts packs in it, we're gonna have issues.
So
Yeah.
Fortnite should
If
have those
someone's-
games, those gone then too, right?
Fortnite's rated teen.
Yeah, Fortnite's T for teen.
Fair enough. I thought it was rated E
That's
for
the only,
everyone.
that's the only argument I have on
Fortnite's
that.
about shooting people with guns.
Also,
Yeah?
Fortnite's only custom.
And
Fortnite's also only
and GoldenEye was
too.
rated T for teens.
But Fortnite's
GoldenEye's
packs
about
are only
shooting people
cosmetic
with
as well.
guns.
Yeah, it
Remember
was.
that?
I know the laws have changed over time too. So, but ultimately,
Remember that
I don't think games that are rated E for everyone should have any sort of what can be perceived as gambling in them.
a lot of things can be perceived as gambling. We've already gone through that though.
All it takes is one kid buying 10 packs and their mom or dad figuring out about it, and that company has another lawsuit on their hands.
So if okay, and no, because that's the parents' issue. If
That
their
is a parents'
child has
issue.
snuck in and stolen their credit card to buy 10 packs, it's their parents' issue and
But
not the company.
That's where this all started over in the UK. That's where all this started, was the Battlefront 2 fiasco. Kid didn't get his guaranteed what he wants, so he threw a fit. At least that's what I've heard. Is that's where it all started.
That's not where that came.
No.
No, the entire loot box thing came from the four family addicts that spent $10,000 on Call of Duty, became homeless, freaked out and tried to sue Treyarch over it, and Treyarch was like, "Oh,
Oh
it's your
no.
fault, not ours."
Yeah,
Okay, so
And-
yeah. This was not children. These were adults.
These were adults that
but all I'm
Like,
saying
knew
is
they were-
going so like in somewhere like the UK that are cracking down on their gambling laws, I think it would be smart. I don't think especially in a monetized game, especially if I'm paying money for a game. I have no problem spending money on a game like Apex. I really don't. I personally have no problem, for me as an individual, I have no problem spending money on Apex. If I paid $60 for FIFA and I didn't get a damn good character off of those packs, oh, I would be pissed. And that is my responsibility, yeah. But like, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
it's cool.
I don't think packs is a good business practice for a monetized game. A
But
game that
scummy.
costs money to get.
I'm
It's
100%
scummy.
agreement with you. It's scummy as hell.
I think it's
Because
a really
it's-
bad business practice.
Okay, on paper, it's a great business practice. To the little
Yeah.
people who aren't getting
Well, because it worked
the
for
money.
Fortnite. Because it worked for Fortnite and it worked for Apex Legends. But the only reason why they're not in trouble over it, like the direct developers of Fortnite and Apex Legends, which are Respawn and Epic Games, is because one, they're guaranteed, but for two, it's a free game. Anyone can download it as long as you got a console or a device you can play it on.
Oh yeah,
And
Yeah,
Slammin just
and-
brought up a
yeah.
great point. The way Apex doesn't give you duplicates is great.
Oh my god, it was amazing. I hated that. So
Okay.
I've never spent any money on Call of Duty.
Quality of life. That's quality of life, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge QOL. And one of the
Yeah.
things that to bring it back a little bit to Star Wars: The Old Republic, SWOTOR, they had a new loot box basically every 2 weeks, and it was not guaranteed. It had garbage usually all the time, and if you didn't get what you wanted, then it was just not. It wasn't no duplicates, so you got a whole bunch of
just basic garbage crap. Yeah.
basic garbage crap. And if I can tie this into our good friend Pound of Flesh, who twitch.tv/Pound of Flesh with the 0 for the O and of. He used to work for a gaming company that had loot boxes, I'm not going to name them um,
Coming
because
on.
I don't remember the name, but he used to work for them, and they had loot boxes, and there was a bauble in the loot boxes every week that was the bauble that would. Oh, thank you, Preston. Um, there there would be a bauble in the loot boxes every week that would be the bauble du jour that everyone would get as garbage, and everyone would sell on the marketplace. So, in a supremely illegal, like illegal, actual illegal, probably jail time move, the GMs of that gaming company would go hoover up all of those items on the market, on the in-game market, and wait until the next week when they would be needed for like crafting or whatnot, and put them up at a inflated price.
Super legal, actually.
Or something along those lines. But when Pound got his job at the next company he worked at, which was Paragon
that's so
Studios, he told them, "Would you like me to go do this?" And his boss said, "Okay, A, don't ever ask us if you can do that again, and B, um, I don't know where you got the idea to do that, but that is super illegal." And he told his new boss that that's what they did at his old job, and the new boss said, "You know what? They do that, and that is actual jail time illegal. We do not ever do that here, and never bring that up again here because that would get you fired."
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Oh
something
boy.
along those lines, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know the exact specifics of it, but yeah, Pound was just completely taken aback, and realized that he had been committing felonies for the last like 6 months, um, and then immediately disavowed any knowledge of it. But he's talked about it on stream before, so
Okay,
it's
I was
all
about
good.
to say.
It's all good. It's all good. And
But
he's actually named the studio before, so but I don't remember the name of the studio, but you know,
we
it's
need.
probably not for me to say anyway.
We
But
really need to get Pound in here next
yeah,
week.
we probably should at some point. But he's playing the Monster Hearts games on Sundays now too.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're actually going to be able to get him in on Sundays, but
That's fine.
I think a different day. But actually, Soul, we are actually at an hour and a half right now, so I don't want to continue talking over you here because you still have your segment to get to.
Oh man, we'll save it for next week.
Okay.
We can get to it. I mean, we could keep going.
We're kind of in a groove
I
here.
hear the smile. I hear the smile on Preston's face.
Like honestly, dude, I'm having way too much fun with this. Like honestly,
We're in a groove.
we could keep rolling. We could just keep doing 30-minute segments too. Like, as I've got subjects. I got topics. I'm sure we're doing great. If you want to keep going, if you want to get to your topic, then go for it, bud.
I mean, really, mine was just gonna open floor to like random ass D&D questions because like I've got more experience than one person probably should in D&D. Let's just put it
You
that
kind
way.
of do. You kind of do.
No, it's fine. I mean, me and Soul have gone like hours of conversation. Like, I haven't played a whole lot of D&D, but my technical information is like, I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I was excited for 2 years. I was trying to play in my buddy's campaign, so he's like, well, when we got a slot open, so I read as much as I could.
Okay. and I hate to be that guy and sound egotistical, but I think I was the one who accidentally ruined that last campaign, mate. I'm gonna fully the one
Oh,
that we were in. I think
okay.
I ruined
So
that by accident.
no, what ruined the campaign was me. I was a little railroady to them, and they didn't like it, and that's fair. Um, I I understand why they were upset with it. Now, am I bringing that campaign back? Oh yeah, I've got. Oh, it's coming back.
Captain Magpie's gonna do work. So Sam doesn't know who Captain Magpie is. So Captain Magpie, a gunslinging warlock, whom to start with was an entire meme on Captain Jack Sparrow. It was the entire riff. It was a portmanteau, Captain Jack Sparrow. And if you're not super technical in D&D knowledge, I will kind of tell you what's going on. So at level 3 for a warlock, access to something called your evocations. This is what makes warlocks not suck. You get to cast spells as many times as you want, but very specific ones. And my favorites are Mask of Many Faces, which allows you to cast Disguise Self at will. You can look like anybody that you want to. It's just a fun little flavor thing. It doesn't do all that much until it does, and then all of a sudden your GM hates
I was about
you
to
for it.
say, excuse me, role play, stealth
and then
checks,
there's-
advantage deception.
It's not advantage deception.
I always get it.
Ooh, taken. Anyway, then there's a spell that a lot of people gloss over. It doesn't matter who or what you're playing, caster or not. A lot of people gloss over the spell Silent Image. And in few words, you essentially kind of just make a little hologram of whatever you want to make. As long as it's within 20 feet of you, it is no bigger than a 5 or like a 5.5 foot, 6 foot cube. So, and it's any visual phenomena. It just can't make sound, which is fine. It doesn't need to make sound for the things that I use it for, anyway. So I would like to point out, 20 feet is a very large area.
It is.
And people like to imagine that it isn't for some reason.
Because they the big goof.
I have 20 feet to play around with.
It's a large area, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what you do as the warlock that doesn't want to get messed with is you use Silent Image. And you create as many clones of yourself as you can in a 20-foot area. And then you play 3 Skull Monty with those clones so that nobody knows who the fuck is who. They have to take an investigation check every single turn.
Which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, the deception check is the spell DC.
It's just your spell save.
It is your spell save DC. Okay,
Yeah,
that is the
you
DC.
don't get any advantages to it. It's just your spell save DC.
Yeah,
If you're doing it right, that's like a 15 at level 6. Just saying.
I mean if you've got
if you're power gaming, it's a 15 at level 6. Let's be honest.
Yeah, if you're
That's
min-maxing.
evil.
Yeah,
Oh,
Slammin'.
there's Satan.
Oh, hold on, Slammin'. Let him finish his little story here.
So you can do that kind of stuff. Or you can pretend to be Mirage, because that's what ended up happening with Captain Magpie.
He
To the point
pointed.
where I heard something in a bush and went, "Oh, bamboozle him," and I snapped and pointed like Mirage, and it worked.
Yeah, the Displacer
Oh my
Beast
God.
failed its investigation and attacked. And then got confused and ran.
Oh my god.
Because it was like, I've been bamboozled. Yeah, no, I'm going to be telling that story for a long time, Soul. If someone goes, what is the most...
You got bamboozled.
Oh no.
So,
I mean, as a bard, as a level 6 bard, you can lay siege to an entire castle by yourself without anything ever happening to that castle.
okay. So since we're sharing fun builds, you guys want to hear mine? My favorite build to run?
Was it the Palibard that
It's
you're
the
talking about?
It's the Warforged Palibard of Cord.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Or not Palibard. It is a paladin, or it is a cleric that multiclasses into paladin.
Yeah.
It is nasty. So let me just pull up the character real quick. So this is what I had envisioned for my character named as Alpha Vault, Warforged cleric of War Domain cleric of Cord. War Domain clerics get some really nasty stuff because they're a combat based class. They're not. People are like, oh, but they have all this utility and what? No, War Domains are broken because they're an insane amount of utility, and the fact that after they're out of spells, it's not over. It's not over. So I think it's at level. So at level 8, you get what's called Divine Strike. At 8th level, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with Divine Energy. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can use the attack to deal an extra 1d8 damage of the same type dealt by the weapon to the target. When you reach 14th level, the extra damage is increased to 2d8. Yeah, it's gross.
It's the same damage as the weapon.
Yep, it looks like it changed because I thought it was not if it's a magic weapon. I'm gonna shoot guys bedtime. Love getting involved in combos. This is great. Much love. All right, appreciate the feedback, Slamming. You have a good night, man.
Because actual Divine Smite is holy damage.
I know.
Like Paladin Divine Smite is holy,
but you throw that with a Holy Avenger.
Yeah, good luck having a Holy Avenger as a cleric.
When you're a Paladin cleric.
Yeah, but at that point in time, you
get to level. So, you go to 18th level, right? Or you go to 17th level, if you want. But the idea, you go to your 17th level. You get your Avatar of Battle. At 17th level, you gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks. You get you basically get free rage at 17. That doesn't have the drawbacks of rage. You can still cast spells. Then you have your 3rd level of Paladin, which you can choose. Me personally, I would, for flavor-wise, I would probably just go either Conquest or... Actually, it's Cord, so it wouldn't be Conquest. I would probably go to Devotion or Vengeance.
Vengeance, yeah.
Just for the flavor. That doesn't matter because you can still use your Smite on your Cleric spell slots.
You can't.
Yes, you can.
No, they haven't. Justin, if you have Divine Smite from a separate entity, because Paladin Divine Smite is actually different than your Cleric's Divine Smite, it's just like Warlocks. If you're a wizard and you multi-class 1 level into Warlock, it doesn't mean that you can cast Witch Bolt at 9th level.
You can use any spell slot to Divine Smite.
Oh, they have ruled that you can't.
No, like this is the official ruling that you can. Like Wizards of the Coast said so.
Wizards has also stated that it literally states in the book that you can't.
No, it doesn't. It says you can use you could use a spell slot, not a Paladin spell slot, but a spell slot.
Pretty sure normal Paladin says a Paladin slot.
Divine Smite 5e. I know this because I built this build. Oh, come on. Where are you, Divine Smite? Starting at 2nd level, when you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend 1 spell slot to deal radiant damage to the target. You could use a spell slot. Yeah, that's where it that was the confusion at first, was can you do that? So you go, just for the fun of it, you pull up a Holy Avenger, which those crits apply to the weapon damage, to the extra dice rolled, it turns out.
Yeah.
In one turn, this build can do like 218 average damage at level 20.
Mm.
Which at level 20, you just one-shot a lot of stuff.
Double check your War Cleric's Divine Smite, because...
No, the Divine Strike. It's not Divine Smite, it's Divine Strike. It just adds an extra D8 at level, and then at level 14 it goes to 2 extra D8. but is of that. So it's still magic. It's still magic damage. Say you've got a magic weapon. Yeah, you can one shot. So this build actually, you can one shot greater devils.
Dang.
I've tried it. I've tested it. I one shot a pit fiend with that build.
Because Warlock.
Yeah.
I'm just like, nah, mate, you don't.
Well, and there's different levels of fun. Like to me that's not even min maxing, because clerics, you might as well go to level 20 for your divine intervention, which in my opinion is kind of weak, considering that you have to roll below a 20 on a die 100. Like,
Yeah.
Nah, I'm good. I'd rather have.
That's why you're that guy, and you have a divination wizard in your party.
Oh.
Yeah.
It makes you
So for
reroll
those of you who
either.
don't know, divination wizard is in my opinion the strongest thing in the entire game. And the reason behind that is that divination wizards, once they wake up, they contact the god of RNG and go, "Hey, I'm gonna roll a dice." Whatever they get, they keep in their back pocket for the entire day. Just, whatever. Let's say you roll yourself a nat 1 or a nat 20 in your back pocket, and there's a boss. I don't know, big scary Tarrasque. and you're just kind of hanging out doing your own thing, and the Tarrasque is like, "Raw, I'm gonna eat you." And your Warlock's like, "No, go 500 feet under the earth in prison." And the Tarrasque is like, "I'm gonna save, brah." And then the wizard's like, "Oh, you didn't though, because I've seen this already." Later, Tater.
And then you just burnt 2 legendary resistances.
It's not a legendary. Divination breaks the legendary resistance rule.
No. What?
If you've chosen to roll, you're the scummiest GM to look at your roll and say he's going to save anyway. Or a scummy GM if you can fight me.
Dude, that's not a scummy DM. That DM is now put in a predicament, because it's like, now just basically you can either force your DM to fail or to burn 2 legendary resistances. That is brutal. That is actually brutal.
I think that after, here's the thing. The GM rolls, right? And they let's say Strahd's got what? We figured out he had like 2 or 3 or something per day.
He's 3 per day.
It wasn't much. If your GM is scummy enough to roll and then be like, "Oh, I failed, so I'm gonna burn a resistance," that is scummy as hell.
Say for reference, a legendary resistance.
Because what that's allowing that GM. Remember, D&D is not the GM versus the players.
No, it's not. It's a game that the GM has made. It's a story.
Hold on. Preston, we can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Mike, what the hell? Real quick, for those who don't know, a legendary resistance is when a monster or creature fails a saving throw, they could just go, "Never mind, yes I do." Just so people can understand that.
They choose to pass a saving throw.
Yes,
it's
that's
automatic.
Yeah, but it can happen if they fail. It can happen before or after a roll.
Yeah. I think you're a scummy GM, and you want a power game and try and make your players cry in the corner. If you're running a Tarrasque, and the Tarrasque doesn't pass their thing, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm just going to legendary resistance." That is scummy AF.
That's what you have to do, though. It's like saying, "Oh, this bard's gonna burn," or this other spellcaster's gonna do this powerful spell, and they fail it. And that's the same logic. You're just using your features to your advantage. That's a predicament, dude. Legendary resistances come in clutch. Like, imagine casting Feeble Mind on Strahd.
It's immune to it, but I see what you mean.
It's not a charm, is it?
Yeah.
No. What the what?
Pretty sure Feeble Mind is, and even if it isn't, he's Strahd. I think the undead are immune to it. I think undead are immune to that shit.
It's enchantment. It's an enchantment. They're not immune.
He might be. I think he's got something that makes him immune to it, though.
I just want to know who this scummy GM really is.
Me, I've been that scummy GM. I'm not saying that I haven't. It's just the scummiest shit when you're like, roll, and you're like, I'm gonna use a legendary resistance, and then somebody's like, well, I'm
No.
gonna make it a 1.
Then might as well
No,
might as well never might as well just throw out legendary resistances at that point, because using them it would be scummy. And I mean, right? Isn't that
that is not what I said, though. You literally know what I said.
I don't think it's scummy. I think that is advantageous. I think forcing a burn on a legendary save is awesome. Because again, say you did that on a high level spell. Now you've got two things. Say it's the last legendary resistance, right? They only have one left, and you've only burnt one powerful spell at this point. And so you're like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it as a feint, and they burn it. That falls for the feint. You have to strategize against that opponent. You're not strategizing against your GM. You're strategizing against the opponent. Strahd, for example, since me and you discussed Curse of Strahd a lot. Oh, he definitely would. He definitely would burn that resistance, and now you've just outplayed Strahd. Congrats. You know?
Yeah.
I don't see it as scummy at all. I think that is a great use of divination. I think that is an amazing use of divination, because that legendary resistance comes in clutch. Have you watched campaign 1 of Critical Role? The Raishan fight. Or better yet, the Vecna fight, the final fight when Scanlan Shorthalt made Vecna burn his last legendary resistance so he can cast the spell to seal away Vecna. Vecna was going to save that legendary resistance for the spell.
I guess. I see a GM run a big, scary, angry boss. It's like something that should be more story based.
I mean, that's your style, and that's fair. That's completely valid.
I mean, it does come down to individual GM style or DM style.
In general, yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
and it wouldn't make you. And let's say that you use the legendary resistance, it wouldn't be 2. You would only burn 1 legendary resistance on it.
But still, a burnt legendary resistance is a burnt legendary resistance.
Burnt legendary resistance on something that a wizard gets 1 chance at per day and can't change.
It's still burning it, man. That's still forcing that hand. It's still forcing it to burn. It doesn't matter if it's only once a day. That once a day just burnt a legendary resistance that is 3 per day, or 4 per day, or 5 per day, whichever, you know?
I guess. It just...
I know. But again, this also comes down to mentality of how are you and your players interacting, because from that perspective, it sounds like, oh, the DM is now scummy when it's never been about the DM versus that. It makes a good story of, I'm going to make you fail, and then the big bad evil guy's like, no. You know, that's badass. That is awesome. And that builds to what's going on. It builds to the immersion, the environment. You know?
I'm going to make you fail.
I'm going
not.
Exactly. Like, to me, that's badass. To me, that is badass. I mean, yes, you're supposed to make your players feel powerful, but if it's your BBEG, say you're level 20, and this is the fight. This is that fight. This opponent better be formidable. Legendary resistance.
That fight's dead anyway. Especially if you have a level 20, a party of good level 20s that like halfway know what they're doing. They'll just pull a me.
And if if your GM or DM knows what they're doing, this opponent. Oh, if this has been like a long running story, you know your players. You know they probably are strategizing against you. At this point, your players are strategizing against your BBEG. This is the fight of the ages, and honestly, that's why I love legendary resistances and legendary actions, because without them, like, BBEGs would just be unless it's homebrew.
You want to know what makes BBGEs really shit though?
What up?
BBGE. Maybe, and you only need one level to do it.
What?
Pull a me. You,
What do you
you
mean?
take 19 levels in Warlock, singular level in Wizard. You're level 20.
Divination.
You have access to near limitless amounts of gold.
Okay.
Near limitless. Have connections if you were Warlock. You use those connections. Use your abilities. Be smart with it. Give yourself a singular scroll of time stop. You win.
Oh.
I am of the firm belief that time stop should be like a level 3 spell. That's 100%. This is the one time that is going to make time stop a legitimate 9th level spell. So
And it's going to be powerful in the hands of a warlock. It's insane utility.
Oh no, just wait. The time stop, if you guys don't know what that does, you roll a d4. And you get that plus 1 extra round of frozen time. You can't do much in it, though. If you hurt anybody, you cast anything that would cause a detrimental effect, it's mostly for fluff / running away. Let's be very honest with ourselves.
So you really need to be pulling up chat, at least on your phone, man. Some
Why?
good questions. This is great. This is great chat engagement right now, and I would love. I don't want
and stuff.
it in general. Yeah, I really want you to pull it up because I mean you're holding the plate right now, and you're being engaged with by chat, man.
Everybody seems to magically forget though that like my Chromebook is that of a potato.
It's a phone.
Soon, my friend. Soon.
Soon, my friend.
Soon you will have your computer.
Use that scroll of time stop. Your one scroll of time stop that you've got because you want a scroll of time stop. Who wouldn't want to be able to control time in the palm of their hand?
Exactly, yeah. Wonderful.
Because you are a high-level caster, you're like a warlock. You're a high-level caster. You've made some deals with some random devils. You've done whatever, by any means necessary. And you've got your hands on this magical item called the Staff of the Magus. This thing in itself is an incredible item that is just amazing to have. Lets you cast spells for free. Lets you do lots of good shit. Here's the thing that Staff of the Magus can do that nobody likes to do because it destroys the item in the process. It's called Retributive Strike. And you break it over your knee or hard object, and it explodes. It goes boom. For 250 d6 of damage. Yeah, all at one time going kaboom.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
But what you do is amazing. You then time stop, run up to the big bad angry boss, and scream "Waya!" and bash it across his head. Now, here's the downside using Retributive Strike. You have a 50-50 chance of taking double that damage.
Oh, it's just
getting
insta death
sent to
for
a
like
random ass
everyone.
plane of existence.
Yeah.
So what you do? Well, if you're me and my friends, the cleric has cast Death Ward on you, which states that if something were to drop you to 0 hit points, it drops you to 1 instead. Or you get sent to a different plane of existence. So I went in with the full intention of nuking a lich. Nuked said lich. Inspiration because I failed my saving throw to then get sent to a different plane of existence. You're a warlock. You have access to a spell called Plane Shift.
Oh my god.
Which then allows you to, if something is not part of the plane that you are from, or on currently, it sends them back to it, including yourself. I got sent to the Abyssal Plane. Because I was a very strong warlock, in front of the leader of the Abyssal Plane, he goes, "Here's the deal. You can either die here, or serve for me. Your choice." And I went, "Let me get out my pre-written acceptance speech." And then cast Planar Shift and pop back in, and waved gently as my time stop left. So essentially what happened was, time froze, I screamed Zowaldo. Everything flashed, and a Thanos snap, things turned to dust. I was not there, and then all of a sudden I went, "Hi, friends."
Okay, so I hate to break it to you. So, for the Retributive Strike, if you fail to avoid the effect, you take force damage equal to 16 times the number of... Okay, never mind. Holy hell. See, here's the thing.
Get full charges.
That's why you force. I mean, the BBEG, yeah, you know, that's a great idea. Are you really going to have those charges by the time you get to the fight?
Yes, we did actually, because he tried to cast 2 non-level kill spells, to which we absorbed and went, we have full charges now.
Okay, no. See, I disagree. What makes so, real quick, Canuck, I see your question. The question asked to us was, and I'm just going to use this as my point here. Can I ask why each of you love D&D? What got you playing, and why do you still play? Me personally, it's because of this story right here that I'm about to tell. I was told how do you kill a group of level 20s? They've interacted with gods. They have slain the greatest enemies in the realm, like heroes of the realm, the whole realm. That's theirs. That is theirs. Any realm they go to, they're probably the biggest, baddest motherfuckers out there.
Yeah.
How do you kill them? Endurance runs.
Hubris.
Huh?
Hubris as well.
That or hubris. That's right. Me personally, what I will do if I know that my party has the capability of one-shotting my BBEG, I'm gonna put them through the ringer even before they get there, or either emotionally or physically. Those characters they're gonna be low on spell slots. You know, they're gonna be hurting a little bit. They may have even lost a couple of their magic items along the way, or there will be chances for them to lose their magic items. This fight is going to feel hopeless. But it's not. But it's gonna feel like it for sure. That's where a lot of DMs get it wrong. They're like, oh, all these OP abilities on my BBEG, but they don't put them through the ringer. I was put through the ringer at level 20 when I ran this cleric bard or this cleric paladin through. I had like 5 spell slots left. I had saving 2 of them for revivify.
Also, just in case. Yeah.
Yep, just in case I could defib and then cast Cure Wounds on them. You know, I was saving my spell slots, but I was like, what made me realize this build was so great was I still had my divine traits. I still had my extra attacks. I still had a couple extra attacks. I still had my divine intervention. I still had my holy, my holy abilities. Praise God, amen.
Got the power of God and
praise chord, blessed be. Or was it 4K or Warhammer 40K is the God Emperor, blessed or beloved by all. There we go. Yeah. The reason why I got into D&D in the first place was I needed escapism. Video games weren't doing it for me anymore because I was playing competitive video games, so that was part of my life. Like, that was part of my daily life was I'm going to hop on, I'm going to get with my team, and we're going to go play a couple tournaments, or we're going to get ready for tournaments. And I got into D&D for escapism because my job sucked. I was really depressed, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try. I need to let loose these facets of myself in a safe manner. So I made a very violent character that wanted to be rich because I was putting those facets, the greed and all that stuff. To me, I used it to let out a lot of my anger and my frustrations and a lot of my more messed up, not messed up, but darker sides of myself because my therapist recommended it. And then I played these characters and I faced consequences, and I loved it. I love the fact that my first character died session 3. He was killed by the guards.
On session 3, you're a murder hobo and a half, aren't you?
No, he wasn't. He was prideful. He thought he could take on these guards and get away with what he was trying to do. He thought he could beat them into submission. And they cut his head off.
And they called for backup.
Yep. He wanted to be the biggest, baddest, and he was not. And the reason why I still play to this day is because it's fun. I mean, there's some insane things, and there's honestly some characters like Alpha Vault that I've just grown way too attached to let him go. Like, if I don't want to play anyone else, I'll play him.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's got, that character.
And then we've got my other character, who character concepts I want to play. Fernald has Benin is going to be a great addition if Soul is our DM. I think he'll have a lot of fun with this character. Like, truly, we'll have a lot of fun with him.
Got me started in D&D. Here, let me... Wow, I have to think back. So, the thing that got me started in D&D... Oh, boy. I was like... 12, I want to say, when I first like kind of kicked into D&D, right?
Yeah.
And some of the crazy stuff that ended up happening was just I didn't have a lot of friends. Oh, why is it making noise? Just a second. Inside. Okay, anyway, so I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. Shocker. So, I'm totally personable and amazing now. Anyway. But
You're fine.
But I found a group of friends in like middle school. Well, that's remote. That like started playing it because their uncle was running a campaign. They were like, "Hey, Keller, you should come and play D&D. We think it'll be cool. You like to play video games and stuff. Why don't you come play with us?" I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." It was like right when 3rd edition came out, before Pathfinder. So it was pretty crunch. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't bad, but it was crunchy. And what ended up happening was I fell in love with the fact that like my video games had become what were essentially like real to me. Because I played a lot of RPGs, I played a lot of that stuff. Like that was what I loved. And I was like, dude, like I can be an orc. I can be a halfling. I can be like an elf. I can play Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
That's what it was. And it grew and it grew and it grew to like in high school I had been DMing already. Let's see. By junior year of high school, I've been DMing for like 2 years. And we were in 4th edition. I didn't play in Pathfinder, which is technically 3.5. Played a little bit. 4th edition was when I was GMing, and I was GMing for my high school's D&D club. And the reason that we had a D&D
We'll
club
play at
is
some
because
point, Hokage, I promise.
I made the D&D club. And we were playing that, and 4th ed brought me to some of like my best friends, even to like this day. And I quit for a while because there weren't enough groups. Mm-hmm. And the groups that were there were like RPG horror story groups. Like
I can eat leftovers.
Not okay groups whatsoever.
Right.
These groups were like the high school dropouts that like were at Burger King. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but like the literal thing of it was like the groups were all like a bunch of Burger King nerds that were using D&D as an allegory to do terrible things. And that's not okay with me.
Yeah, no.
Like,
no.
And I mean like war crimes, terrible things.
Yeah.
Just so they could feel better about themselves. And the other groups were like brand new to the point where they didn't know what they were doing at all. And they were like 14, 15-year-old kids. And I was like 17, 18 at that point in time. And I'm like, dude, like I can't be with these people. I can't be with those people. So I fell out of it for a really, really long time. And then 5th ed came along, which everybody talks about 5th ed because it's the newest edition. It's getting support. It's a great system. Fight me. I will knock anybody out that tells me that 3.5 is better because you know that you're wrong and nostalgia goggles are strong.
Oh yeah. 3.5 sucks. But believe it's better.
There's a reason it's called Mathfinder.
It was. It was. I tried playing.
Then
Ugh.
I came back to during fifth ed during the resurgence. That's what we're all calling it right now. Is the resurgence. That right now is the biggest, the biggest influx of players in the history of Dungeons and Dragons. So right now is the resurgence, like 2019 through 2021.
Yeah.
Because COVID. So I came in before the resurgence, and my first fifth ed campaign was Curse of Strahd.
Ooh.
Like, we rolled through Curse of Strahd. And I've still got that mini of that fucking Dragonborn Paladin that took me through, that introduced me to fifth ed. It took me all the way through, like, we were like 17th level, 15th level or something by the time that we beat it. And that took like 5 or 6 months, I want to say. Like we didn't, you know, like we weren't slow with Strahd, but we didn't barrel through it either.
Yeah.
Right.
House of Horrors.
House of Horrors was okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it was playable. It wasn't bad. I use it as a one-off to teach new players.
Well, so I'm talking about the House of Horrors scenario, the encounter in that mansion.
Yeah, I use it to teach new players.
For those who are not aware, in this mansion, if you go to the basement, which basically you go to the basement, the door locks behind you, and effectively to make it out, you get to fight these two beef. And mind you, you're at like level 2 or 3 at this point in a group of like maybe 4. There's a shambling mound in there, which is a CR of 5, mind you, and spirits in there.
For a normal party, shouldn't be too terrible, but it's a challenge.
It's a challenge, but it goes from a deadly encounter, you know, to a lethal encounter if you don't sacrifice one of your teammates. Either way, chances are, if you go and fight them, that lethal encounter, one of you might make it out alive, because of the different spirits and other things. It is a great introduction of what Curse of Strahd is going to put you through.
Yeah.
Very, very hard decisions that you're most of the time. The fact that Soul kept the same character the whole time is a miracle.
Oh, I'm not saying that he didn't die once.
But I'm saying that he wasn't like dead for good, right?
Correct.
He got revived. Yeah, no. The chances of that happening are very slim in Curse of Strahd because of what you go through before you get access to Revivify.
Well, I was the only person who had Revivify.
Oh, well,
So- Yeah.
Weird.
Oh,
you went.
Are you ready for? I'm a Curse of Strahd spoilers, everybody. Hate to be that asshole, but
Spoiler alert.
In Curse of Strahd, you find an abbey. You know, it's just an abbey up in the mountains. And if you help the religious leader there, like full-on revives. As in, like, he's got 3 diamonds, 20th level cleric, boop, revive.
Is he a cleric though?
So you get like 3 chances.
Is he a cleric though?
Yes. Yes, he is.
Oh, so you never did that encounter then?
We did. We talked our way out of it.
No, I'm talking. No, there's an encounter you can have. It's not optional, or it's not guaranteed. It's up to the discretion of the DM. I'm not gonna say it then, since I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. No. What the Abbey is.
Well, the giant abbey. No.
I'm not gonna spoil that because that's like a big deal. That's a big deal for the environment of Strahd. So I'm not gonna say that one.
Really?
Are you? I mean, I'll just say it then.
Torch fixes it.
He's a Deva. He's a Deva that Strahd has trapped down there. Either that or your DM did not put you through the encounter I'm thinking about. But that Abbey's a Deva.
No. So if you go to the Abbey and you do what he asks you to, which is like a really, because you need to talk to him about Strahd and stuff. Like you need to gather info and stay there for the night, and nobody does. Instead of it being an encounter, he's like, "Hey, I need you to go do this for me," and you go and get an item for him. Then you figure out what he's doing. This is the Abbey with the mongrel men. And he's just like, "Hey, I need you to go get this for me." He doesn't tell you why. He's just like, "I need you to go get this for me. If you do, and one of you falls, and you come here, if you bring them here, I will give you a revive. I'll bring them back to life for you." It's like, awesome, cool. So we got the item, and we had that in our back pocket until we needed to use them, and we only used them once. And we never went back. And then, what was it? We figured out that somebody was talking about the Abbey, and we were like, "Hey, what about the Abbey?" And they're talking. They were saying like, "Yeah, the abbot helps mongrel men out, and he's a really good guy, but he's been really weird with him recently, being that he's been collecting body parts." And we're like, "What? There's no way that this is going to be like a Dr. Frankenstein and his monster kind of thing." And it straight up is. He's trying to make a wife for Strahd. He's trying to make a flesh golem for Strahd so that he can break the curse for everybody. This Deva thing is not part of the book, unless it's a new addition to it that I don't know about.
The abbot was a Deva who was turned evil by Strahd von Zarovich while attempting to find a way to free him and thus Barovia of his curse. He also experimented with the Bellevue family, turned them into vile mongrel folk. He often walked through Kresk and did favors for the burgomaster Dmitry Kreskov. That was from 2017.
He was chill with us. He gave us revives.
Oh,
like,
he was. I think he was giving you guys a break because, yeah.
I mean, I'm never opposed to running through campaigns again.
I mean,
what is level?
If you would like to DM Strahd, I'm not going to DM Strahd. I just won't do it. But if you would like to, I'll have a character for you. I'll make a character.
I'm not going to DM Strahd for a while. I've DM'd Strahd before.
You should know it's a Deva.
Back to the story. That's why we don't play Strahd anymore, is because our DM is like, "No, I don't want you guys to run it. I don't want to run through it. I don't think it's like it was a fun campaign in the fact that we were playing D&D. Strahd's not a fun campaign. I'm gonna be super honest with everybody. Strahd's not a fun campaign.
It's not. It's brutal. It's brutal. It is like some of the worst that like you can go through in D&D.
Yeah, Strahd's not a fun campaign.
But I mean, it's like Tomb of Annihilation too. Like Tomb was pretty.
The
brutal.
new Tomb of Annihilation is fine. The old one was just made to make overpowered characters hate you.
Yeah. But still.
So
yeah, I've had a friend that told me all about the original Tomb of Annihilation.
Yeah, and then they remade it for 5e, and it's just so much better.
Yeah, my friend was an Adventure League DM, so.
Oh, so.
I'm
nice.
one too. I'm
Yeah.
still registered. I'm still registered as an ALDM.
Okay, cool.
Tomb was fun. Tomb was a lot more fun than Strahd.
Yeah, for sure.
It had fundamental things that like would teach players lessons if they were shitlords, but it was fun. But we moved from Curse of Strahd to Princess of the Apocalypse because it was the new book that came out around my GM's birthday. And I was like, "Oh, dude, we gotta play through this." And Princess was a ton of fun. Princess is where my Paladin of Lathander became a paladin of a primal god that was bent on destroying the world. Only the thing is that God that wants the end of the world is patient. So my own agenda was to keep putting off the end of the world for as long as possible in story mode, like in story wise, to keep putting it off as long as possible because, quote unquote, I wanted to be the one who brought this destruction. So even as an evil paladin, I was a good guy. Yeah.
Darn those paladins, yeah.
I went like 8 layers deep. It was speaking of that, my GM for that messaged me the other day. He's just seen how I was doing because all of our group have our first shot for COVID.
Oh, yay.
We talked about getting back together after we all kind of have our second shots and
That's
our
that's a great question, Angie. Why do you like D&D?
That is a good question. I have never actually played D&D.
Well, that's changing soon.
Yeah, that is changing soon. I'm actually going to be getting in on one of the campaigns that Soul is running at some point or another. I have a lot of reading ahead of me, and because of a medical procedure that I underwent back in 2004, reading is not very easy for me. Just absorbing kind of ideas and whatnot. But I'm gonna give it the old college try, and give it my best. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I've not actually played any tabletop RPGs, so this will be a first.
It'll be a lot of fun, I promise you.
New addiction incoming. That's what I'm calling.
Yeah. I have full faith in y'all.
I'll play it very nice. Good.
You don't have to play nice.
Thank
Just
you.
know that if you decide to be that guy, oh boy, Preston. Do you want to know what happens to those who are hit with imprisonment?
Oh no, I don't want to know.
Oh, that
He
might
wants
wanna
it to
go
be a
through it.
surprise.
Download or make an account on D&D and Beyond and read through the free source books that they've got. You could literally look up the player's handbook on Google, and you could find a free version of it online. But you shouldn't do that because that is illegal. But you can read it online if you don't want to buy the book. Just don't download it. That's my official opinion.
The thing here is that D&D Beyond is probably the best source that players have had in years.
It is. Like, it should be used more often. Yeah, I personally use it exclusively. I think having the books themselves is pointless. Unless you're
PHB specifically because I'm a GM though.
Yeah. So not D&D specific, but for any story-driven game, RPG, etc., do you three lean towards good, neutral, or evil characters? Oh, that's a loaded question.
Ooh,
my answer's gonna freak everybody out.
You want to roll for who answers?
I just tried to take one of my pain meds and missed.
Oh.
Oh boy, that was a bad taste in my mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I lean toward chaotic evil at any and all points.
Chaotic evil?
At any time that I'm able to, I go for a chaotic. And if the GM allows it, I love chaotic evil.
So, me personally in RPGs, I do 3 playthroughs of any game I play, and I'll do a generally good, a chaotic neutral, or a evil of any sort, whatever I feel like, but I'll do 1 playthrough of it as an evil character just to get the full experience of a game. The reason why I do that is because I don't believe you get a full experience from a game being a goody two shoes. I don't think you get the full experience being a evil plutocrat, and I definitely don't think you get it just by being indifferent to anyone else's struggles. I think you have to have like multiple playthroughs of a game to do that. In D&D though, I really love my chaotic good.
It's great just because it's the I do whatever the fuck I want alignment.
True. Angie?
Yep. Okay, so in most games, I will do goody two shoes type stuff because I can't really bring myself to be evil, even even in like a video game type setting, because damn it, if I have the ability to help people, I will, because that's just how I be. Except for City of Heroes, because there was an expansion called City of Villains, and I love City of Villains because you got to be evil and be a villain, and there were some storylines in that that were just fucking amazingly grim and evil. And there was this one contact called Weston Phipps that, oh my god, you wanted to take a shower after some of the things he made you do.
Ugh.
Like
Dude.
there were these two lovebirds that he basically had you pry apart in a relationship, and he had you basically send one off to the tarantula program, where she got turned into a metallic tarantula that can't see or feel or anything like that, and the other one just kind of got absorbed into the giant neural web, because the enemy group of the Rogue Isles is called Arachnos. And yeah, um, but that was over the course of like maybe an entire story arc, and each mission was just dripping with evil. And by the end of it, you're just like, God, Weston, chill out, Satan.
See, the best part about being chaotic evil, right, is so I like to do, if I'm running chaotic evil, I do what I call the goal mindset. And the goal mindset is, my goal is this, and everything that I do is going to help for that goal. And so, like, I'm trying to remember one of the other. I had like a chaotic evil warlock. I can't remember a while back, and the entire shtick behind him is that he wanted to be like the lord of a piece of land or something. I can't remember what it was. He wanted power. That was his goal. And when you're chaotic evil, the chaotic part, meaning that you can quickly fluctuate into like the good spectrum for random things. Because chaotic doesn't mean that you're clinically insane. It just mean you go and start burning an orphanage just because you can. That's not chaotic evil. That's chaotic stupid.
Well, chaotic just means you have no care for the law.
Exactly.
On the extreme end, like, you just really don't give a shit what the laws are. You're gonna do what you want.
Anarchy. Yeah, anarchy. Everything that I did, whether you saw it as good or I saw it, or whether you saw it as good or evil, it was always for the betterment of me. A lot of people forget that that's what chaotic and lawful evil both want. It's just that lawful evil will be like, okay, the best way that I describe both chaotic and lawful evil is, if you have a lawful evil person, will hold a person hostage. Yes.
Do you want it for supper, or do you want something else?
I have food. It's okay. Macaroni and cheese.
Yep.
Oh, it's fine.
With the chicken strips?
The difference between a lawful and chaotic evil character is that of, if a lawful evil character has a hostage, the lawful evil character goes, you need to give me $10 or I'm going to kill this hostage. And you give them $10, a lawful evil will give you back the person, take their money, and go. Okay?
Yeah.
Chaotic evil will take that $10, blow the hostage's head off, throw the body, and say, "I gave it back to you," and then walk away with the $10.
Yep.
Honestly, that sounds more so like. See, that's to me reeks more of like neutral, just pure evil. Being
That's what
pure.
chaotic evil is. Everybody seems to forget that pure evil and chaotic evil are the exact same thing. It's just the way that you play them.
There would be no point for the separation of alignment then.
There isn't an alignment. True evil is chaotic evil. And the reason that true evil has been a thing is because of Curse of Strahd.
Honestly,
is true evil.
I think chaotic evil is more characterized by the destruction, like the means. I feel like chaotic is more by the means, and like, yeah, is by the means. So like, and neutral evil is brought on more from the just for the sake of. So it's like chaotic evil is. The reason why they're chaotic evil is by the means that they go about it. Neutral evil is for the sake of destruction. Chaotic isn't for the sake of destruction. It's for the sake of self-serving and not caring. Neutral evil is characterized just by for the sake of evil. It's just that's the way they are. There's no.
The goal of the chaotic evil
to evil
was to get $10 though. So therefore he got $10 and said, "Cool, bang, here's." He didn't say give him back alive. He didn't say give him back alive now, did he?
Yeah. No,
that's exactly, yeah.
That's chaotic evil. Where
I got my $10.
Where like pure evil would come from is, hey, is the cruelty, it would be like, is to express that cruelty behind it, is enjoying that cruelty behind it. The best example of neutral evil I can think of in a PC was my friend's character who had, and I'm not going to tell that story, never mind. So the different story of what this character did, I didn't put a trigger warning.
Pure evil would be telling that story.
Yes, pure evil would be telling that story. What this character did, and me and this person are not friends anymore, actually, I should say. I don't play with him anymore. He's kind of a jackass. He had held an orphanage hostage. And he had created this illusion that the orphanage was up in flames when he was leaving. And people were freaking out and scattering, and it was fun. And to him, the reason why he did that was, well, he's like, well, we got what we want. And my character was like, but why'd you do that? That was kind of messed up, dude. And this is where the party kind of broke apart. It was because he goes, I thought it was fun. That's pure evil right there, was put people in distress for the sake of fun. And it is self-serving, so it gets skewed with chaotic. Chaotic and neutral evil get skewed, but the reason why he did what he did was for the sake of fun, was because he goes, it just feels good. It just feels good to make people afraid. That's pure evil. Chaotic evil is, I have means.
Like,
my means in that situation is I wanted $10. Never said I'd give it back alive though.
Yeah, that's chaotic.
So would you say that chaotic evil would have been necessarily okay, let me rephrase. That would have been pure evil. Chaotic evil would have required a means to an end.
Yes.
For that.
Yes,
Okay.
there was a true purpose for it. There was there's chaotic. So neutral evil does not have a motivation. It just wants to be bad. It just wants people to fear it. Chaotic evil has means behind it.
Just put it in the orphanage. The only way to get rid of it is to burn the orphanage. Sets it on fire. Did I tell everybody to leave? Nah.
That's chaotic evil right there.
Exactly.
But chaotic evil would have been like there were termites.
Mm-hmm. There was termites. So this
really, yeah. There are people who will like trivialize that and be like, yeah, there were termites. Ha ha ha. Like,
but
to an extent, yes.
Or my neutral evil character was a necromancer, who the only reason why he was a necromancer was he legitimately enjoyed his name being spoken of in a sense of fear. he had risen an entire city, like a capital city, back from the dead, basically a city full of undead, and just left it.
Stan.
He did it just because the fuck he could.
God, and I find it hard enough to raise a family.
Not if they're close enough.
Necromancer, or as a fighter, you have my sword. Whatever, and the necromancer.
Ranger, you have my bow.
Yeah, a ranger, you have my bow. Necromancer, and your brother.
And your brother.
I will avenge my brother. You have my bow. And my sword. And your brother.
There we go. That's it.
Yep.
This intermission was brought to you by Soul Snacks. Dude, do it. You better start baking and making snacks and sponsoring this stuff.
This intermission brought to you by Soul Snacks. Soul Snacks.
Speaking
brought to you
of-
by Soul Snacks.
Speaking of, this was really fun. If we want to continue, we can. If not, if there's anything else anyone wants to discuss, I'm totally down. But I at least want to get a snack. I'm hungry.
I think this is a good place to stop
All right.
because I'm starting to feel a little bit of the pain spikes. So
That's understandable. Well then.
disabled streamer and all.
Well, I'd like to thank both of you for starting this with me. I think this was a lot of fun. I would like to do this. I must continue this. All right. We have the feedback already. We're going to continue doing this. I will be posting this to my YouTube. And thank you for the 200 biddy. There's Canuck. Bit tease there, Canuck. For those who want to see this later on, or if you ever miss a podcast, I will upload them immediately afterwards. They should be live within an hour or two after. Just go make sure you gotta hit it. Go hit up my YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and if you like what you see, make sure to hit that like, of course.
Listen, I don't think you can do that, mate.
Huh? Oh, you can.
Check your
You can.
stuff.
I can. I'm allowed to.
I think there's a
It's a 24-hour exclusivity thing. You need to check your affiliate stuff.
Nope.
yeah, there's a 24-hour exclusivity to Twitch for affiliates
Yes.
Really?
And partners.
I mean,
and partners. So you technically have to wait 24 hours before you export to YouTube.
oh, okay. Well, it'll be uploaded tomorrow then.
Yep.
That's fine. I'll just go through this, see if there's anything, maybe shorten down the start to end or the beginning and whatever.
Yeah.
But
You can export and just set the timer to premiere tomorrow at this time.
that's true. I can. So
In your region.
in my region, of course. So with that being said, I will be going live again in about half an hour to probably play some Apex or maybe something else. I'm not quite sure. But I will be going live for your regular scheduled raging on a video game. And I will catch you all then. Thank you for all the support and everyone who came by tonight. Soul and Angie, Way Too Late TV. I will talk to you about this, about setting up a regular schedule then. From here going forward, I will hit you guys up probably later tonight or tomorrow. And you're
Sounds
a nerd,
good.
2D. You're a nerd. You guys have a wonderful night. Peace out.
Good night.